is good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable Podcast. I am Jeffrey Kirby. First and foremost, I do want to say I apologize for missing. We do apologize for missing last week's show. I just gotta say we apologize for that. But holy fucking shit, look at who we have here. We have Mr. Caleb. He hasn't been on since like the Civil War era, but he is back. He came up from the dead. He's never been dead, but he came back from the dead, and he is here. He is back. How in the hell are you doing today, Mr. Caleb?
Doing pretty good. I was going to say the last time I was on the show, Cleveland didn't have a football team. But then again, that could be today, too. No, doing well. Staying busy with school, getting ramped up with our athletics marketing program here in operations. So we got our biggest football schedule, in the history of our university coming up because we're hosting BYU and Virginia Tech this year. Uh-huh. So we're just trying to get everything set. It's been kind of crazy at that, and working operations for a hockey rink here. So hockey season's ramping up. So I work too much. That's my problem. But it's cool. Athletics is kicking off. It's cool. We got an exciting year. So I'm doing good. How are you doing? How was your crazy trip?
Oh, listen, first and foremost, I do want to give a shout out. First off, shout out to my guys, Jay and Paul. It was a fun ass trip. First off, 12 hours in the car to Minnesota. That was rough. Obviously, the only times we stopped was when we absolutely had to. That was rough. We did see a car burning on the side of the road of a highway outside of Chicago at 3 a.m. So there's that. We went to the.
Did you guys rotate? Did you rotate, or did one person drive the whole way?
Oh no, the one person drove the whole time. But
so overnight, that's y'all are crazy.
We left here at I want to say like 11, and we got there at 9 Central Time. So in reality, it was only like 11 hours. Well, only 11 hours, but yeah, we did that. It was cool. I slept for as much as I could in the car. We went to the Mall of America. That was cool. I ended up getting me a little shot glass that says Mall of America. I had to get something that said that mall is big as fuck. I will definitely say that. We also met Squidward. There's that. We got to the hotel. There was all kinds of fucked up things that happened with that. But we ended up getting that handled. Went to the Minnesota Twins game. We saw the Twins shell the Royals like 9-0, which was not fun for me.
It's the Royals though, so
yeah, we expected it. Then the next day we went to Schaumburg, Illinois. That's where we ended up staying for the rest of the time. We went to Milwaukee that night. Did
you catch a Schaumburg Boomers game?
Huh?
Did you catch a Schaumburg Boomers game?
We did not.
Hey, us Crusher fans need them to lose.
Hey, listen. Well, yeah, we stayed in Schaumburg. We went there. Then we went to Milwaukee because Milwaukee was only like 90 minutes from there. So then we did that, came back. What did we do after? I think we stopped at a Walmart. No, we didn't stop at a Walmart. What the hell did we do after? I don't remember what the hell we did. I definitely know I smoked a whole lot of cigars that trip. We all knew that was going to be coming. Next day, we had a day game against the White Sox, in which I saw the Houston Astros score 21 runs. Which, obviously, for me and my situation as a Guardians fan, was very nice to see. However, I hated the fact that it was the cheating Astros, but, you'll take it, whatever it is. And then, obviously, the next day that night we went to Giordano's, got our some deep dish pizza. Which, here's a funny story. So, the next day we went to Wrigley. Seats were small as hell, but, that's that. We saw the Cubs win. So, after that, we came home. We had some Giordano's left over. I was the one that got blessed with taking the rest of the pizza home. I traded with one of my neighbors one slice of Giordano's pizza, and I was actually given this. It was a program from 1946. It's still in a baggie. I'm not taking it out of his baggie because I am not taking the chance of this falling apart. But this was cool as hell. Shout out to my neighbors. That was very appreciated. But yeah. And then also, because my thing was I wanted to get keychains and pins. I was able to get a pin for every team, but I wasn't able to get a keychain for the Cubs. So I ended up getting a shot glass with their W on it, which I know you would hate, but, it is what it is.
Fly the L, baby. Fly the L.
Well, we actually saw them fly the W. Well, the Cubs did. I'm not a Cubs fan. There's not a chance of hell I would ever be a Cubs fan, especially with what they did to 2016. But back to our regularly scheduled programming. That was my experience. We saw the Bean. That was cool. Drove. Hunter says, "Where's the Aaron Donald slander at, hypocrite?" You're damn right. It happened. It didn't happen to my team. It happened to another AFC North team. He needs to be rewarded. He needs to be the hell with a fine. He needs to be given money. Thank you, Aaron Donald. I salute you.
Why though?
First off, just to piss off Hunter, and B, no. In reality, we will. You know what? That was not in the show prep for today, but it's what happens when someone hits another player in the head with a helmet during training or during practice. I guess we have to talk about it for a minute. First and foremost, obviously, yes, both of us as Steelers fans, we've been affected by this because we had this happen to our own quarterback a couple years ago, in which yours truly was sadly in attendance for that game. So, there's that. B,
you should stop going to Steelers games.
Well, you know what's sad is there's actually 2 in the works. One is guaranteed, and there's another one in the works.
Great, so we're going to start out the season a couple of ties in our hand.
I swear to God, if I can watch another freaking tie this year, I'm literally just going to lose my shit. But no, in reality, obviously, do we know exactly what really led on to that happening? Obviously, we learned later on about what happened with Myles Garrett and the whole conspiracy about Mason Rudolph saying a racial slur. So it was like, okay, we learned, maybe that was why Myles did that. Do we know exactly what the real reason was for Aaron Donald to do this? Outside of just the fight happening? That's my thing. First off, fuck you, Caleb. But no, that's my thing is, do we know what the hell, happened with this? I just don't get it. That's just my thing. And I guess you're typing up some more. Oh. You know what? Okay, Michael Jordan wannabe. You little shrug. But no,
hey, facts are facts. I'm sorry my facts hurt your feelings.
You know what? We're gonna add a 1 in there at some point this year. We're gonna make it 1, 1, and 2.
Nah, it's gonna be 2, 1, and 2.
You know what? That better be it. Because if I end up imagine this. So real quick, I'm definitely going to the home opener. That's already done and paid for. And there's a good shot I'm gonna end up at the Browns Steelers Thursday night game in Cleveland. There's a good chance of that. Imagine if I somehow went 0-1 and 4.
I think I'd be more ticked off that we had 2 ties in the season, not gonna lie.
Here's my thing. And also, that would be within 4 days of each other. Within 4 days of each other.
Can you imagine Steeler Twitter melting down if we had 2 ties in 4 days?
I don't even want to think about it. I really don't. But knowing my luck, that's probably what the hell will happen. Yeah. But no, obviously in reality, what are your initial thoughts? Do you have any initial thoughts on the Aaron Donald hitting Bengals players in the head with helmets? Myles Garrett 2.0?
To be honest, I don't know enough to have an initial thought about it. I've seen the clip, but I've only seen 1 clip. I haven't seen anything else. I saw the clip where the lady in the background's like, they threw a flag. What's that going to do anything? I don't know. Probably something went on. I'm going to wait to figure out and get more of an initial reaction. But honestly, I'm kind of going to take the same stance I took before. So if you're swinging your helmet, no matter what the person says, it's a weapon and you're an idiot.
Yeah, and here's the thing, obviously, and what's weird is, obviously, yes, one happened on a primetime game where you were the only game on that night for the NFL, and you have another one that happened in practice. In both situations, both were fucked up. Both, you shouldn't swing your helmet on another player's head. Let's be honest here. You shouldn't. But at the end of the day, now I'm going to be interested to see how the NFL handles this in terms of punishment, because obviously with Myles Garrett ended up getting the indefinite suspension, quote unquote, and he was gone for the year, and then he had to reinstate. Now, do I think Aaron Donald's going to get the full year? I don't think so. But I'm just going to be very interested to see how they're going to handle this punishment, because I just don't know. I mean, this just kind of all happened recently. We're just like, what the hell? That's just when Kirby ends the season 0-1-4 and someone else ends it 2-0. You know, thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys have. No, I'm just kidding. Caleb's back. We're gonna last about a whole 11 minutes. Goodbye, 6:11. Thank you very much. No, I'm just kidding.
Catch y'all next week, maybe.
Maybe. No, but yeah, that was just honestly my reaction. I mean, obviously at first you're just like, holy shit. But then at the same time, then you really start to think about it as like, EB, it's not a good look. It's not a good look for the NFL. It's not a good look for Aaron Donald. It's not a good look. Especially because, those were the two teams that ended up facing each other in the Super Bowl. And it's also
Which
weird.
to me, I don't understand, because I know the joint practice was planned out probably mid-season last year. That was something that got pushed through. Like, that's not a recent thing.
Remember this as well. Zach Taylor's used to be on the coaching staff of Sean McVay, so they have
this has been planned out. But part of me is wondering, like, you went at it in the Super Bowl, and you want to have a little bit of, like, there's got to be a little bit of revenge from those Bengals players, even though it is just like a joint practice. So part of me wonders if you're gonna have a joint practice like that scheduled, like, just cancel it, move it to the next year. Let that first matchup for those players, especially if it's the next season, let that first matchup be a game. Don't let that be in a joint practice. Don't let any raw emotions come out because of that, especially because it's had a couple months to build. Like, I think it's a bad look. I think they were just waiting for something to happen, and we saw it boil over. So I'd be interested to see what actually comes out of it, but especially because it's Aaron Donald's side, so he shouldn't, like, he got the better end of that. But you never know what was said or what boiled over. Like, to me, it just seemed like a risky idea. Like, save the joint practice for next year, but don't do it right after you just played in the Super Bowl against each other.
Yeah. First off, Hunter, yes, go ahead. And B, here's my thing, too, that's weird about this. You're having a joint... Now, I understand that you're going to play each other in a preseason, but I don't know. It just kind of felt weird that in the fact that it's like a cross-country kind of deal, where obviously you'll have some that are like close. So, like, for an example, if, say, Pittsburgh and Philadelphia wanted to have one, okay, logistically, you know, they're a lot closer to each other. Obviously, you can't say Cleveland or Cincinnati because that's a division rival. That's just going to go straight to hell. If you wanted to have one with Detroit, okay. If you wanted to have one even maybe with, like, Washington, okay, I could understand that. But I don't know. It's just weird having a cross-country. I mean, like I said, they had a preseason game, so eventually they were going to have to come over. But it was just a weird thing, honestly. But yeah, that's really all I have in terms of, like, my reaction to it. And you guys, drop your comments on what your guys' reactions were. Obviously, social media has gone absolutely berserk, as per usual, when it comes to that. But let's get back into the real conversation that we wanted to start off with in terms of what we wanted to get to in the podcast before helmets started to get swung again in the AFC North. Obviously, we haven't had you haven't been on in a while. It's been like over a month since you've been on. What are your first of all? Let me just ask you this: what are your thoughts on the whole quarterback situation in terms of who do you, because I want to get that before we base into what we think is going to happen.
You're just throwing me right into the fire right away.
Of course, that's what we do.
I think we've had 2.5 quarterbacks look good this preseason. And I think we've had 2.5 quarterbacks that you can make a case could start. The half quarterback is obviously Mason Rudolph because he's not going to start. He's not. He's going to be a backup or the third string. This fan base would lose their minds if Mason Rudolph started. He's not going to start. You brought in Mitch to start. You brought in Pickett. Mason Rudolph is a backup NFL quarterback. And honestly, my opinion isn't as hard as most do on Twitter. I think that Mason Rudolph is a serviceable backup quarterback. And I think he's going to go and he's going to be a decent backup quarterback with some other organization too. But I think you drafted Pickett in the first round. You brought in Mitch Trubisky. Before this even started, it was going to be Mitch or Kenny starting game one. It wasn't going to be Mason Rudolph unless they both just absolutely laid an egg in the preseason. Now, you brought in Mitch Trubisky. He's a little bit of a veteran. Well, no, he is a veteran. He's looked decent in the preseason. I say you give that starting spot to Mitch. But Pickett has looked really good. And Pickett has the argument going for him that he was in college football longer and had that 5th season. So it's a weird situation because it's not like it's Ben that Kenny Pickett's trying to take the seat from. This is two new guys that were just brought in, and it's just a weird situation. But ultimately, I think this is Mitch's team. And I think Kenny Pickett's got to go take the position from him.
So here's my
which thing. I think he can do, and I think that Week 18, the starting quarterback for this team, unless there's crazy injuries, is going to be Kenny Pickett. But I think you're going to roll with Mitch Trubisky to start the season. And you know what? What if Mitch lights it on fire? What if Mitch Trubisky plays out of his mind for a year? You trade him in the offseason, you start Kenny Pickett week 1 next year, kind of like what happened with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes.
Here's the thing. It's a lot easier to start Mitch Trubisky and then go to Kenny Pickett than going with Kenny Pickett, he's playing terrible, and then going to Mitch Trubisky. It does not, that situation just would not work out well at all. Obviously, going into this, you
shoot his confidence right in the foot if you take him out too.
Yeah, and here's my thing. Going into this training camp, we all knew how this was going to go. Unless Mitch Trubisky just looked like the second coming of DeShone Kizer in 2017, which he was the quarterback of the Browns when they went 0-16. Unless he does that, unless he just looks as abysmal as, say, Trevor Lawrence last year, and then you have Kenny Pickett, who's looking like the second coming of Joe Montana, we all knew that Mitch Trubisky was going to be the starting quarterback. We all figured, and we don't know this for sure yet. It's not clear cut in stone. We don't even know. I mean, we have to go through another preseason game. We're going to see what happens with that. But I think for most of us at least, we figured, okay, it's going to be Mitch Trubisky that starts week 1, whether for whatever different reasons you may have. Whether it's just the more experience, whether it's you just want to give Kenny Pickett more time to learn the offense and learn the NFL ways, whether it's the fact that you're afraid to throw him out to the wolves with that terrible offensive line, which we will get into here shortly. Whatever reason it is, a lot of us figured it was going to be Mitch Trubisky. My thing is, I don't mind it being Mitch Trubisky because, like I just said, it's a whole lot easier that if he starts playing not so great, you could go to the rookie, you could go to Kenny Pickett, and you go from there. Kenny Pickett has looked good in preseason. Now, I do need to emphasize that for those. It is preseason. Because I know how fans are. Myself can do this as included. We've done this with George Pickens. George Pickens looks good. Everyone thinks now he's the second coming of Jerry Rice and Randy Moss. People think, oh, now he's just going to, just based off of the one preseason touchdown that he had with Mason Rudolph against Seattle, now he's going to have the same season, if not better than what Jamar Chase did last year. We all overreact. We all do it. But when you really break it down and you really look at it, we just got to chill the hell out. Mitch Trubisky, and say if he goes out there and plays pretty damn well, congratulations. If not, we could go to Kenny Pickett. We've seen what he could do. He looks good in the 2-minute, which that I like, but also I feel like that's something that's one of the easier things to do is to look good in the 2-minute, in my opinion. But you could have your different opinions on it. I just don't personally mind Mitch Trubisky starting week 1.
No, and I think Mitch Trubisky is going to start week 1. And I think that even if Kenny Pickett went out there and had an amazing preseason and Trubisky looked average, I think it was going to be Mitch Trubisky that starts. Because like you said, it's easy to, when Mitch Trubisky slips up, he knew what he was coming into. Honestly, when you signed him, you knew the Steelers were picking a quarterback.
Remember this as well. And when we signed Mitch Trubisky, which is ironically on my birthday when we did, because I was getting ready to come and do our free agency live stream when that happened. Remember also, obviously Kenny Pickett wasn't drafted yet. That quarterback room was Mason Rudolph and God rest his soul and Dwayne Haskins. So you knew right away that Mason was still but you still had Dwayne Haskins that a lot of people were thinking he could really come in and do something and possibly win this job. And then obviously we know what happens, and it's a tragedy what happened. And then you go into it, all right, now you draft Kenny Pickett, and it's like, okay, now Mason, you're not going to trade or draft a guy 20th overall and just kind of, nilly-willy with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the thing.
All I know is both Mitch and Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett. I threw Mason Rudolph as that second guy because you never know. All three of those guys threw the ball halfway decent to our receiving core that I'm excited about for this year. Because you got Deontay Johnson back. You don't have a contract situation. He's not holding out. You got Pickens is looking good, and Claypool. This is going to be big for all three of them because Deontay's obviously going to get the 1 team. He's obviously going to get your top corner against him, right? Mm-hmm. But then you have Claypool and Pickens. Then this gives Claypool a chance to then be the third guy and go have a prove it year and kind of play against all adversity, which I think he will do. But then Pickens is this rookie that not many people know about, and I think he's going to have a good year. And I thought he was going to have a good year before he took his...
I don't know if I can say I agree with not knowing who he is, because he has made a big spark real quick. I think especially with the way that and I understand it's the media, but the way that the media has been pushing this guy, defensive coordinators are like, yeah, let's watch out for him. Because remember, I do want to make one comparison when it comes to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase around this time last year looked like he couldn't catch a football to save his life. So you had that going. George Pickens is getting all the – I mean, look at what the NFL social media has done. They have just been pushing George Pickens content like no tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I understand that. I understand that he's faced, and we got the meme of him looking all strange, just standing there chilling when he gets picked. We've all seen that stuff. I think that Pickens isn't still – we haven't seen what he can do in regular season play.
Oh, no, yeah, I get
talent.
that.
Yeah. I think that – and especially with Freiermuth too, I'm excited for this year because we actually have a quarterback that can air out the ball. But a thing that's been bugging me is why are we calling the same plays that we ran with Ben?
Because,
these guys can throw the ball.
So here's the thing, and you especially because and we've been doing this now for a little over a year now. What was one of the very first things that I said when it came to the quarterback situation last year versus this year? Ben Roethlisberger, okay, let's just put it this way. The fact that we were able to win 9 games last year with Ben Roethlisberger, who does not fit Matt Canada's system, is honestly incredible. But here's the thing. You can run those same plays because now you have a quarterback, whether it's Mitch Trubisky or whether it's Kenny Pickett, you have a quarterback now who can fit that system and I think can run those plays better. I think the RPO
or just be mobile too. Both these quarterbacks are mobile. Both these quarterbacks have the accuracy. I get that, and I get the system works. I just want to see, finally we have a quarterback who can put the ball, further than 10 yards down the field. I want to see a 20-yard pass. I want to see some, spread the field out a little bit more, open it up for Najee Harris, That's all.
I think we'll definitely see it over the course of time. It's just, and here's the thing, too. We're in the time now where, these guys, obviously, yes, Mitch Trubisky's been with the team since mid-March. You drafted Kenny Pickett in late April. they've been obviously working at things, but over the course of time, you're still going to open things up even more. You're going to add more things to the play calling. I think we're definitely going to see that over the course of time when the season comes out, because obviously, like you just said, it opens things up with Najee in the run game. Now, obviously, in terms of the offensive line, that'll be a different story for a different day. But like you said, we have whoever it's going to be. You have quarterback with some mobility. Now, obviously, we've seen that. Sometimes I have a little bit of concerns with Mitch Trubisky having happy feet once in a while, but we've seen his ability to go and maneuver around the pocket. We've seen Kenny Pickett maneuver around the pocket and trying to find ways to make plays, whether it's just stretching the play and throwing the ball downfield, or whether it's just actually using their legs. We've seen both of those things. It's just I think over the course of time we're going to see this offense get opened up even more, and especially once they start gaining even more chemistry with whoever it is, with Deontay Johnson. We all know Deontay Johnson. I think the best thing about him is the fact that I think he's going to be, especially for Kenny Pickett, he's going to be Kenny Pickett's best friend, because there's nothing better for a rookie quarterback than a guy that could get open very quickly, and that is something that Deontay Johnson can do. I think that's something that's going to be very nice. I think overall, the wide receiver court with this team is deep. Like you mentioned, you obviously have Deontay Johnson. You have Chase Claypool, who so far he's showing some improvements, but I want to see a little bit more of that. Obviously, we've seen George Pickens. He's been going nuts lately. And then on top of it, you still have Pat Freiermuth. He's a guy that we saw he was a red zone threat last year as well. Calvin Austin, when he's not dealing with his foot injury, he's a guy that could burn the top off the defense. And then on top of that, you even have what the hell was his name? We got him from he came from Baltimore. He's a guy
Miles Boykin.
Miles Boykin, yeah. He's a guy that, I mean, obviously he's not going to put up big yards for you or big stats for you, but he's a guy that can still definitely contribute as well. So when you go down that road, this is a deep team for wide receiver, and I think that's what's going to make this offensive line, or I keep on going back to the offensive line because they're just pissing me off. But yet again, I'm not the only person that they're pissing off. But just this overall offense as well, I think that's what makes things more exciting, is the fact that we have a quarterback that has some mobility that can open things up even more.
Yeah, to be honest, Big Ben fan. Love what he did for the franchise.
I mean, look, I'm literally wearing his jersey right now.
See, I am not. I'm repping my Liberty gear. I can't help it. I'm excited about Flames football coming up. With our own quarterback battle, it's kind of the same thing too here. I love how we went from Ben and we had Malik Willis here last year, and now it's just hey, we have three guys. We brought in a veteran guy. We got this new mobile quarterback, great prospect guy we brought in. And then we have a backup returning last year that the fan base doesn't like.
Right.
This is literally the Steelers situation. We brought in the veteran, the backup fans don't like it, the new kid. So, and nobody knows who's going to start. Well, we do now because they announced Charlie Brewer transfer from Utah is going to start. But I just thought it was hilarious, the parallels between the situation here and the situation with the Steelers. I get to watch this twice. So, but I'm a little bit excited for Flames football. So I had to let that.
It's funny that you made a comparison with Liberty and with the Steelers, because I have a comparison that I'm going to make a little bit later on down the line here in the show. But we do need to get to this offensive line, because holy shit, this offensive line has just been bad.
They're bad. They're really, 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 really bad.
Let's go down the line here.
Why is it no?
You know what? Go ahead. No, go ahead and get what you would need to get off your chest, because I can definitely tell.
Why is this taking so long? Why is it taking so long to rebuild this offensive line? Every single year we hit here's this new piece. What is the problem? Is it coaching? Is it just these players stink? Why? This should not have taken this long. They should be showing improvement now, instead of just being this big question mark. I get it. They're rebuilding an offensive line, but it should not take this long. It's frustrating. And this was supposed to be the year they were supposed to gel as a group. They were supposed to be those young guys. They were finally starting to step up, and it's just frustrating. And part of that is me being a Pirates fan and watching some of these people come up and just sucking, okay? I'm getting really pissed off with this whole rebuilding thing. And so the Pirates have me pissed with our offensive line. Okay, why is this taking so long? This is not the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers. We don't do these long rebuilds. They should be good by now. All right, I'm done.
I like that. I like the fieriness out of you today. I like it. But no, here's the thing. So when you break this down, Dan Moore, he was a rookie last year. He played solid for you at left tackle. This year so far, he's just been abysmal. He has been abysmal for you. The left guard position. Kendrick Green, I'm sorry. If it wasn't for the draft pedigree, he wouldn't be on this team. And then you have Kevin Dotson. Obviously, there's questions in terms of, just his health. But Kendrick Green has just looked god-awful. Kevin Dotson, he has his health issues. Mason Cole is a guy that, you brought in. He was a journeyman center. Okay. He hasn't been the greatest, but, you'll take whatever. At this point, whatever.
He's looks serviceable.
You have James Daniels, who is a guy that a lot of us were looking forward to. He has been not good at all. In fact, what's crazy is the best offensive lineman that we have had so far this year is Chuks Okorafor. Which, 2 years ago, he was like the worst offensive lineman we had, and now he's the best, and that's not because he's just gotten substantially better. It's because this was Chuks and this was everyone else. It just did this. Bink. That's all it's done. He's been
and this is the third year we've been watching this.
And then on top of that, now I understand that we'd already gotten a guy that was a center in Mason Cole, but there was another person that we were looking at say maybe is J.C. Treader. He just retired. So now that was the guy you're like, okay, that's not happening now. There's not, at this point, you're kind of fucked. It's either these guys are going to have to develop or this offensive line is just going to be even worse than it was last year. How in the hell do you make this offensive line worse? How in the flying hell does that happen? That's like saying that the Pittsburgh Pirates could get worse. Now, I get it's the Pirates, but that's like saying you are already at the bottom of the barrel and you get worse. How in the hell do you do that?
Yeah, it's frustrating because this whole team has brought in people, and I'm excited about every single aspect of this team. And then the offensive line is just in 2020 there was the like a little bit of the overlap between the veterans and some of these younger guys. Okay, we all saw we saw them start that rebuild, right? Last year they were abysmal. This year they look even worse. And you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if they still I think it's bad enough that you still try to bring in someone this next week before the season starts. I think that and I don't know who, and part of that's just my rage pouring over from the Pirates because I don't even want to begin to talk about them today.
I do need to ask one simple question when it comes to the Pirates. How in the hell are you about to lose 100 games in 2 straight years when it doesn't happen in Major League Baseball anymore? That's a question that needs to be answered.
It does happen. We saw Houston do it almost 4 years in a row. They did it 3, almost 4.
Well, it feels like it doesn't ever happen. And
no, it happens. Look, this year wasn't. Now you got me talking Pirates.
We'll do this for just a quick second because then we'll go back to because then I got to make a comparison when it comes to the Pirates. So.
Oh yeah. This year was supposed to be an individual development year. And we weren't supposed to be good. Team wasn't supposed to be good. We all knew this was going to happen. And yet, for some odd reason, we're still like people like a Jack Sawinski. People like I don't even know anymore. Why are we giving looks? And then like Hayes is frustrating because he looks like he looks at a baseball and tweaks something and he's out. Like the kid, like his defense. Why wasn't Cruz up to begin the whole season? Like, if we don't roll into next year with Reynolds on this team, possibly extended, bring up Andy Rodriguez. Bring him up. Just bring him up. Put him as your backup, probably with Heineman. Get rid of Perez because he's not going to start another game. He's going to be hurt. He's going to pull something. He's going to pull something that doesn't even exist next year in spring training. And he's just going to be out for the year. Okay. Bring up Endy, put him with Heineman, bring up Sawinski, put Reynolds, extend Reynolds, go find somebody to play first base, somebody like a Daniel Vogelbach. Put one of these middle infielders as second, roll with Hayes and roll with Cruz for the whole season, and we'll see how we do. I'm tired of individual development's cool, and I've been on the individual development train for years now. That's what this season was about. You're going to lose. And if you're trying to get a draft pick, cool. Because part of me is seeing them like either that they're really just that dumb and that bad at their jobs, or they're trying to get one of those top 3 lottery picks. And I think they're trying one more time for a top 3 lottery pick. That's why people like Josh Van Meter still exist on this roster. Now, he's not getting the at-bats, and Shelton is taking those at-bats away, but you got to give people I don't know. If next year this was the individual development year, and I told myself that, and a lot of people have been saying that going into this season. But if next year there isn't a serious improvement, and they don't look like at least a competent baseball team, and it starts clicking for these young players, I get it, they're young players, they're going to make mistakes. If it doesn't start clicking next year, I'm going to be pretty ticked. A lot of people are going to be pretty ticked. Where's this rebuild going? And if we don't start showing signs of improvement next year, why are you keeping Reynolds? Just trade the guy. Trade him at next year's deadline. And I want some explaining to do, and I want somebody fired. And I don't know who it is, but if we don't start looking like a competent baseball team next year, I'm not asking for a winning team. I'm not asking for a playoff team. I just want to look better than this and make it look like you're trying. Go out and, we've been told ever since the start of this rebuild, ever since the 2020 season, that Cherington's saving money, that Nutting gave him a cap hit, Cherington's saving money, and he's going to spend this money when it's time to come up. We saw this happen a little bit when they paid some guys, brought them in 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes, the cap hit, Nutting's cap hit on the Pirates was lower than what we all wanted, but at least they spent money. We've been saving that money for this past couple of years because we've been told, yeah, they're going to go out and spend. Go out and spend. Go out and bring a pitcher in. Take a shot. Go bring somebody in. If you don't show this fan base that you're at least trying next year, because we've been all sold this, and I've even been sold this. I've been telling people this. If this year was an individual development, cool. This year's over with. Next year, I want to see some improvement. And if there is an improvement, if this team doesn't look like they're at least trying to spend, yes, we brought in people like a Holderman. We brought in pieces that are closer up. Yes, I get it. But if they don't do something to make this team look more competent at the major league level, I don't care anymore what happens to Indianapolis or Greensboro or Altoona or Bradenton. Cool, that's where our prospects are out. If this team at the major league level doesn't start looking like a major league team, I want somebody fired by this time next year. And a lot of people in the fan base are with me. We've been sold this rebuild. We've done this. But they have to look better by next year. I want somebody's job.
Yeah.
I'll remove him myself. I'll get the fan base together, and we'll remove him ourselves.
The Renegade Roundtable strike of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Back to the since I had to let you get that off your chest real quick.
Sorry, I went on 2 rants today. It's been a couple weeks.
Hey, listen, I got a rant coming up here in a little bit, so it's just going to be the week of rants, I guess. We're going to hit the trifecta of rants. But no, just overall, this offensive line, there's just, and again, this was something that I stressed last year where I said, listen, offensive line is a position, or it's a group where, what's up, Jared? Do not go Yankees. The hell with that. But other than that, what's up, Jared? This offensive line, I understand that it takes time to gel, and especially when you look at it. Obviously, Dan Moore, now you're going to possibly have a different guy at left guard. You have a new center, a new right guard. So your tackles are set, but the interior part is where you're still jumbling things around. You're not fully set on it yet. I understand that. And my thing is, over the course of time, we need to see some serious improvement from this. If we want to, do I think we're Super Bowl contenders right now? No. But if we really want to have a good shot at possibly making the playoffs here, which, by the way, Vegas has us over-under at 7.5, which is weird because we're last because you have other 3 teams that are over-under of 9.5, which doesn't make sense to me. But if you want to get over the hump, This offensive line better make some improvements quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Do you think we bring in somebody? Do you think they're making another move, or do you think they're gonna ride with these guys?
I think no. If they're gonna bring any, I could play left guard or left tackle. You know what, Jared? Fuck it. You play. You know what? You play left guard? The hell with James Daniels. Or actually no. Yeah, Dan Moore. You go and handle Myles Garrett and all of them. You could play left guard. I'll be your backup left guard, and we'll be good to go. The Jared and Kirby experience on the offensive line. There we go. Maybe I'll be the I am an eligible player. I'll play the Zach Banner role. There's that. But no. What did you ask again? Oh,
do you think we're gonna bring somebody in?
Someone? No, I don't believe that they'll bring in anyone for the offensive line. I do think there's a chance they do. They'll definitely. I think there's a good shot they bring in someone on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's. I think your best case scenario, if you're going to bring someone up on defense real quick, is going to try to be another pass rusher, similar to what you tried to do with Melvin Ingram last year. I think you want to try to get a guy that whether. So if obviously right now Alex Highsmith is hurt, you want a guy that could come in and can fill that role, or if God forbid something happens to TJ, like there was a couple games last year where we didn't have TJ. That obviously later on down the road, when TJ got hurt and he didn't get to play, and I believe it was the Chargers game, you would have loved to have a guy like Melvin Ingram. Now, is he going to give you the same production? No, but he's going to bring you that veteran leadership, and he can still make plays for you. I think that would be someone, or that'd be a position where I would really like to see them bring someone in for that position. Yeah, like Jared says, they should, but will they? Probably not. Maybe they'll try to claim someone off of waivers, but there's a reason why that's the case. Unless you just hit a gold strike, like you do at wide receivers, unless you just pull a wide receiver gold strike, I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't know. This offensive line is going to be very frustrating this year.
And part of it is there an element of just letting these guys go out there and say, hey, form into a group, figure it out. Throw them into the fire and see, do something. I mean, we saw that with Tomlin calling them out and kind of making it to the meeting. Like, hey, this is on y'all. Figure this out.
My thing is, I really wish that they would have brought back Mike Munchak. But I also wish they would have bring in the offensive lineman from Hard Knocks for the Browns with the big old gut, Bob Wiley. The guy that was talking about stretching being overrated because they didn't do it when they were running across Normandy. Which, I don't care, that clip was so hilarious. But no, in all seriousness, obviously, we've now been through a couple different offensive line coaches, and it's just, something is not right. There's just something that's going on with this offensive line group that's just not clicking at all. I just don't get it, honestly. But, yeah, other than that, obviously when it comes to the defensive line, we talked about that already. Obviously, we're going to probably expect the offense to do a little bit of carrying this year again. Middle linebacker position, Devin Bush just looks lost at this point. I think it was okay to maybe give him a scapegoat year based on the mental of the knee. You can't do that again this year. No, he's just looking bad. And then, do you really trust having Robert Spillane having to be your starting middle linebacker? That's kind of my issue with the defense. But, all right, I'm about to make a comparison. Well, so there was something that I saw from there was a reporter, obviously, here in Pittsburgh, DK, one of the more he's one of the most respected guys in Pittsburgh. I like him a lot. He follows me. Shout out to him as well. He also follows you as well. This was a comparison that I saw was interesting. And I'm going to put it on the screen right now for everyone to see. And this was obviously Cal Quantrill for the Guardians. He was just having an interview post-game because he pitched against the Padres. And here's what DK had to say. Same payroll, same market size, first place in the division, talking about the Guardians. Playoff bound, plus 9 prospects in Baseball America's Top 100. It's almost like it requires knowing what the hell you're doing. Now, obviously, as you know, and a lot of people know very well, now I know this hat I'm about to show you is a little, some people might say it's offensive, but we all know that I am also a Guardians fan. I saw this comparison, and it was very interesting to me because of the fact that, and he's right, both are very low in payroll, both are very small markets, some of the smallest markets in baseball. You have one team who was not supposed to be that great this year, and they are 10 games over 500, depending on how they finish up today against Seattle. And going into today, 4 games ahead in your division. And then you have one team who is 30 games under 500 and is on pace to go for another 100-loss season.
I think the key difference is one team knows their small market and yet is bringing up their young guys, letting them play, and they're at least making an attempt, making the best with what they have. And then one team that just keeps throwing their prospects back down and playing a bunch of hodgepodge of nothing
and here's the thing,
letting
too.
it work.
When it comes to the Guardians, look at how many rookies that we played this year. It's been a lot. I want to say 13 rookies this year have played. I mean, obviously you have 1 or 2 that's gone down. You had Nolan Jones, who recently just came back down. They're kind of pulling I feel like what they were trying to do with O'Neal Cruz. There's a chance that he might start playing first base. He was an outfielder. But you have that. I mean, look at Stephen Kwan, for an example. He's a left fielder. He's a possible Rookie of the Year candidate. Then you still have other guys like Oscar Gonzalez. You could just go in on the amount of rookies and first-year players that there are on that team. And this year they are 66 and 56, 10 games over 500, and having a good shot at making the playoffs this year. And when you were projected to maybe win 80 games this year, maybe. But I think the key difference is they try. But another big thing is I feel like they had a better pitching staff going into this. So it's a lot better when your pitching staff isn't the young guys, because we've seen a lot of, if your pitching staff is even just slightly halfway decent, you could carry some rookies a little bit more and carry a younger bullpen. So I think Cleveland, going into the season, had the advantage with the pitching staff. But other than that, they're just as young. But in fact, I believe it's the youngest team in baseball.
Yes, they are, and they have been for most of the year. I think if Pittsburgh doesn't make at least this happen next year, if not obviously win the division, not obviously look as good as Cleveland does, but if you got to look at least like you're trying to go in that direction, because Cleveland didn't even rebuild. There was no pause. There was no rebuild. They've just kept rolling. Now, Cleveland has also been, for long stretches of their history, just as much of a joke franchise as Pittsburgh.
Exactly. I mean, look at before the 90s, which is very ironic because I've been on this kick lately of watching old stuff from the Indians of the 90s. Before that, they were a pathetic team for so long. Like you said, for decades, they were pathetic. And then obviously you go in the 90s, which was weird because they were actually they had one of the highest payrolls during that time in baseball. And then over the course of time, it's just, obviously, we've been to one World Series in 2016. But over the course of time, I think a lot of it, and I think part of it has to do with, like you said, with management. The Cleveland Guardians are probably one of the more better run organizations in baseball. Because you look at Chris Antonetti, Mike Chernoff, the president and the GM of the Guardians. They always find a way to just flip players and just be great when it comes to that stuff. I mean, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we got Emmanuel Clase, one of the best closers in baseball, so the Texas Rangers could have one inning of Corey Kluber. And I think that's and obviously they're not going to make the huge splash things like the Yankees or the Dodgers can, but it's all about just being smart in terms of the development and just overall in the prospects. Like you said, same situations in terms of small market, small payrolls and all that. One team has 9, and I believe this is the most in baseball in terms of prospects rankings in the top 100. And then how many do the Pirates have? A couple. Obviously, you have.
I think 5.
I was gonna say you have Henry Davis. You have what's it, Tamar Johnson, or is that Tamar? Who you just recently drafted. I'm trying to think of. I can't think of the other ones off the top of my head, but I mean, I think that's just there's stuff like that goes such a long way when it comes to just the overall development. Like I said, there's no reason Jack Sawinski should have been. I mean, unless you want to send him back down for just a little bit to maybe just try to keep his head going and then bring him back up. No, it just seemed like, and it also seems like it could have been another manipulation kind of deal for service time.
Yeah, like you see these people coming up, and you see us morphing into finally having a decent farm system instead of just selling it all off and replenishing it with MLB guys that are nothing. But we're just like in this frustrating part of this rebuild where it's like, where's the development? Why is Shelton why is anybody who's developing, and why is this coaching staff at all levels not just completely revamped? Like I get it. We bought the excuse that we're rebuilding. Cleveland never rebuilt. That's a big difference, and that's why we're further away. Cleveland has been able to retool. And I think that's what the Pirates want. It's kind of like the Rays model. I think that's kind of what the Pirates are striving to be. But this organization has just been pathetic when it comes to building people. Like, I'll give Cleveland their credit. They are halfway decent at this, and they have their prospects, and they're a young team, and they're looking to be good for a while. Like, I don't understand why we can't do that, why we can't replicate that. And I don't know why at least you're not trying. Now, who knows? We don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. You can make a really good guess. If you're trying to go for that top 3 pick, cool. Then I'll turn on the TV and watch a Pirates game next April. You know, I will stop listening now. I'll watch next April, and we'll be done. Like, just lose the games, that's fine. But if you're not at least going out there and trying, it's just frustrating to watch, because I get it. But go make something out of nothing. Go try. You don't have to just throw absolute garbage out there with the intention of tanking. Now, they have made some moves this year that it's like, okay, finally, we're going in the right direction. And then they have stuff like keeping Josh Van Meter, keeping Yoshi for so long, sending Sawinski back down. You know, we all knew Quintana was going to get traded, but like, why? I get individual development. Cool. You sold that line to us. Why wasn't Sawinski up here for individual development then? What's the point of service time if the guy's not even going to turn in anything because you squash him right when he gets good? To me, it's just a little frustrating. And this team, this team next year has got to look like they're trying. And if they don't look like they're trying, this fan base is going to be ticked, because you know what? I get it. Fans don't show up to games. MLB has an attendance problem. It's been across all levels of MLB, all levels of baseball. We've seen this. But this is a passionate fan base. This is the fan base that goes to Steeler games. This is the fan base that goes to Penguins games. And this is the fan base.
It's one of the most passionate sports cities, and when we talk about our teams, I mean, you look at it, the city goes and it's not like, for an example, where it feels like, for an example, obviously I mentioned how I'm in Cleveland here, where it's like you have the Browns that are way up here, and then you have the other two teams. Here, obviously, yeah, you might have a team that's more popular, but it's not that big of a gap. Obviously, right now it might be the Pirates that are low, because obviously they're the only team that are around here right now that's, not winning. But, I mean, they're still just as passionate with the Pirates than when it comes with the Penguins, than when it becomes with the Steelers. I mean, when it comes to that, the city has they've been very passionate about this team, but you can only have so much patience before you just start losing your damn mind and just start questioning yourself of, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah, and I think that's what Pirates fans are going to get to next year when this rebuild that we've been watching, doesn't at least make an attempt and try. We like 13, 14, and 15. I still will die on the hill that if we didn't run into Jake Arrieta in 15, we would have won the World Series. But that's another story for another day. And it's in 16, 17, 18, you saw the team going for it. You saw them at least. We saw it with the Chris Archer trade. Like they were at least trying. And you know what? That was fun to watch because you knew for that 2012 to 2018, those seasons, we were at least attempting to play good baseball. Now, 19, we all knew the rebuild was coming. 20 was a short year. 21 was awful. This year was supposed to be this individual development year, but we're not seeing that. And we are seeing development. There's a lot of bright spots. There's bright spots in this farm system, and there's a lot of guys who are so close to being in that top 10 and in that top 100 that like we're not as far off now, but turn this into something. Do something with it. Don't just sit here and throw out more just nothingness, taking flyer on guys. Like we're over this. If you don't, this is your individual development year. You sold the fan base on this. If you don't go and turn this into something next year, people are going to be incredibly frustrated.
Yeah. So Hunter,
I mean, okay, we're in a better spot than even like say the Royals, right? Their rebuild, they've got everybody up and they have gone nowhere. They've run out of gas with their prospects and they're just kind of stalled out. Okay, we have a better system than a team like that. Go do something with it. Go next year and do something with it, right. Or else you're gonna alienate your fan base.
So here's a couple of the comments that Hunter has made because I know he's very big into baseball as well. He says, obviously the Guardians are one of the best run organizations in baseball. The ability to develop players, especially pitching, God yes, is absolutely insane. 9 top 100 prospects with 4 all-star level players. And other young talent getting ready to boom as well is insane. They're just such in a good spot. We don't give our front office enough credit for trades as to developing players or drafting. We don't get to spend money like these big market teams do, so we have to develop almost perfectly and make good trades and able to compete or be in the mix every year. And what we do is just a phenomenal job. Yeah, and look at it this way too. And here's what's interesting about this team with the Guardians this year, and I think it's something that I think the Pirates can maybe try to work on, and if they want to try to copycat it, go ahead. Look at the style of play that the Guardians have been playing. It's not been beating you with the long ball. This isn't the 90s where you're having Jim Thome and Manny Ramirez and David Justice going nuts on you, just hitting bing bongs, and Albert Bell. They're beating you by playing, doing the little things right, getting guys on base, getting guys over or moving guys up in base, just dinking and dunking through, stealing bases correctly. Those are things that you can develop because obviously, yes, we all love to see, the 3-run bing bongs and all that. That's always entertaining. But if you want to win games, that's the way to do it. And on top of that, it becomes very annoying for other teams as well. I think that is the way that you can develop. If you can get guys to have a lower strikeout rate, a guy that could get on base and just do the right things, the little things good, I think that's a major part in what can help with the development of this rebuild.
There's a disconnect. It's the same with our offensive line. Like, where's the disconnect? It's in coaching, it's in development, and that's a problem that needs to be addressed. And this season for the Steelers, and this offseason for the Pirates. And if it's not addressed, people are going to be frustrated.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at. We've seen. You might have something else. We can go a few minutes over. It's fine. We've seen what happens when you invest and you try to win and you make the team decent. PNC Park had people in it for a little bit earlier in this year. Why don't you? That brings in revenue. People in the seats brings in revenue. Why are you not trying? This city will show up if you try and prove that you're going to try.
Yeah, because my thing is, especially now, obviously for a guy that lives in Pennsylvania and it's just every day, you could go to the ballpark whenever you want. Unless you're going there because it's a quote unquote cool thing to do, why would I go and invest to go and watch your product in person when I feel like there's no improvements. There's no development. That's the part, and that's a disconnect. And I mean, and I know Hunter here will understand this as well. When it came to Francisco Lindor, when it was, enjoy him while you're at it, because there was just simply not going to be an effort to try to re-sign him. And it was just a matter of, why in the hell would I go and spend money, give you money and invest into your product when I can't guarantee that we're going to see an outcome, that we're going to see something positive out of it. Is this going to be just a recycling process when it comes to the Pirates? We don't know. I mean, it sure as hell better not be, or else you're going to be losing out on a lot of money because people are just simply going to stop caring. Mm-hmm. Why would I care when I could get the Penguins, who are, we're probably a few years left in this fun time with the big three when it comes to Malkin, Letang, and Crosby. Why would I invest my time in the Pirates when I can invest my time into them? Or if I can invest time with the Steelers, who are obviously one of the best run organizations in all of sports, why would I invest my time in something that, to an owner that just simply does not care?
Exactly.
Now I got one more thing I need to get off my chest, and then unless we got something else we want to discuss, we can get the hell on out of here. So we all know that the NFL 100 list is been, it's been going on. It's something that a lot of people, I'm one of the people that I love watching those every year, just seeing where our favorite players on our favorite teams are going to be listed at. Here's the thing that I have an issue with. And it's not an issue with the list. It's the issue with the fans. Because I think a lot of people are disconnecting this actual list. Because I think they forget the fact that this is a player-ran list. This isn't a media-ran list. This isn't a couple guys circling around a table like it is for the Hall of Fame or whatever. A committee for that. No. This is all of the players. Obviously, of course, to me, whatever happens does not surprise me. Let's be honest here. Am I surprised that Odell Beckham got higher than Deontay Johnson? Not a chance in hell. Am I surprised in the fact that the Steelers are going to only have 2 players on this list? Not a chance in hell am I surprised. I am not whatsoever. And to be quite frank, there's a couple players that you can make arguments for. Obviously, Deontay was going to be you can make the argument for him, of course, obviously. You can always make the argument for him, but I think last year was a little bit different because he had to play a completely different role. And he wasn't making the splash. He was making impactful plays, but it wasn't the splash plays that just was like, oh my God, like it was in 2019 and 2020. You can make argument Najee, of course, but I never really put much thought into Najee being a top 100 player. I just simply didn't think it was going to happen. Obviously, we knew Cam Hayward would. Obviously, we knew TJ would. People just, unless they just don't understand the fact that it is a player-ran list, none of this absolutely surprises me whatsoever. And in fact, I'm going to pull up the list here for everyone to see. And it's the top 20 players. It's not in order. It's in alphabetical order of who the players are going to be. Now, obviously, you get guys, Devontae Adams, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, blah, 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 Myles Garrett, Derrick Henry, Aaron Donald, Tyreek Hill. Obviously, we see TJ Watt on that list as well. We all knew he's going to be a top 5 player because we all know how this goes as well. But the moment you see that, like, for example, Odell Beckham on this list, I'm not surprised. I kind of was like, okay. Because they all go by who's buddy-buddy with each other as well. Everyone in the NFL is buddy-buddy with Odell Beckham. I don't think everyone is buddy-buddy with Deontay Johnson. Riddle me shocked, I am not.
I don't put much thought into these top 100 lists.
And that's the other thing, too.
I mean, they're in it for the clicks. They're in it for people to see it.
It's like, for example, when people are getting pissed off about Madden ratings. Do we really think we should give a damn about Madden ratings? No,
because we all know you're going to... No, we all know you're going to get into that Madden game. Before you start the season, you're jacking the whole roster up to fit the ratings that you want, so you roll into that season 99 overall. We all know how Madden works. You're fine. Get over it. It's a video game. It's a list. Go. I care more about what the team's going to do on the field and how many top 100 people we have on this. That's the top 100 list that does not matter.
I mean, my thing, you could be the top 100 in spelling and the alphabet. You could be a top 100 in a spelling bee. You could be top 100 in a Joey Chestnut eating contest. I could simply give less of a damn. I mean, of course, we like to see our players get recognition, of course, but it's a list that should not really give a damn. Let's be honest here. You can't allow yourself to get that emotionally distraught on a list that simply does not affect this team whatsoever. It's not like it's the draft lottery for the NBA. It's not that case where that list does matter and does affect your team. This is a list that's just simply a list, and no one should really put that much thought into it. Simple as that.
Exactly.
Other than that, 1 week away from the Backyard Brawl. That is going to be fun, to say the least. Keaton Slovis was named the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Panthers. So, obviously, we now know there is one team in the city of Pittsburgh that we do know who the quarterback is going to be, and that is definitely Keaton Slovis. The Pittsburgh Panthers it looks like they are a 7-point favorite in Pittsburgh for the Backyard Brawl against the West Virginia. What the hell are they? West Virginia something?
Mountaineers.
I mean, that just shows how irrelevant they are to me. But
they're gonna get absolutely floor mop. Hit by 30.
Yeah, and just my thing is
hit by 40.
And here's the thing
hit
too.
By 50.
50.
Hit by 50.
Oh boy. Let's just say you better be on the show in 2 weeks when actually hold on, let's do this real quick. Your ass better definitely be on the show when it comes September 8th, when you might have either you're gonna look like the genius or you're gonna do you're gonna have some backing up you're gonna have to do for yourself. Well,
do I actually think Pitt's, just for legal purposes, do I actually think Pitt's gonna win by 50? No. But Pitt by 50.
There you go. Other than that, yeah, I think the issue, and especially now when it comes to this is something where, especially for teams where it's like, you don't have a realistic shot at like a true national championship. There's games like these that truly matter. Like, this game is going to matter to Pitt Panthers fans and to Mountaineers fans. This is the game that you definitely care about. This is the game that needs to be brought back every year. Let's be honest.
And it's a football game. It's not a rifle competition. So, not real worried about it. Hit by 50.
I mean, unless, oh, man. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you guys did enjoy. And if you guys did, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button. You guys have been killing it with subscribers and viewings lately on the channel. In between the time of the last podcast and this one, we did reach over 500 subs and over 100,000 total views. Damn. That's a pretty cool feat to say the least. I do have 2 reactions that will be coming out tonight, so that'll be a blast to do. And you guys have been killing it again on the reactions. Those have been fun. But other than that, you got anything else you want to get off your chest before we get the hell on out of here?
I got nothing.
Well, until then, I do want to say again, thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys did enjoy. Continue to smash the like buttons. Continue to subscribe. And until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. This could be a hell of a weekend for the Steelers on Sunday. We're going to really find out who might be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But until then, you guys have a great week. Stay safe. I'm Kirby. That's Caleb. Have a great week. Goodbye.
See y'all.